The Basement Dwellers podcast is brought to you by Dynamite Shirts. Now offering several services such as screen printing, embroidery, vinyl transfer, and even decals. Visit dynamite-shirts.com and get you some sweet custom clothing today.
Press start to continue.
They are those who live in the shadows, who feed upon Doritos and Mountain Dew. They take comfort in their dark habitats as they watch reruns of sci-fi shows long past. They are the Basement Dwellers.
Show me what you got.
So say we all. So say we all. So say we all.
Indeed. Yes. This is a fertile land and we will thrive. We will rule over all this land and we will call it this land.
Make it so.
Together, we can rule the galaxy far from sun.
I want to believe.
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 5 of The Basement Dwellers, a bi-weekly podcast dedicated to all activities most enjoyed by those who spend their time in the deepest, darkest, and dankest of basements everywhere. I'm your host, Wes Tanner, and tonight we'll be talking about celebrity nerds, specifically those who use their star power to bring the magic of nerddom to people all over. Whether it be D&D, board games, or other geeky sundries, there is something inherently interesting, or maybe even a little suspicious to some, about all the famous people coming out of the woodworks recently to share their longtime or newly found nerdy interests. I'm joined as always by my fellow basement dwellers, Nick, Ron, Drew, and Peterson. Hey, non-celebrity nerds, what's up?
Hello. Wait, we're not celebrities yet?
One of us is.
We're working on it. That's what this whole thing is about, right?
Let's get these guys on the show.
So, I know I kind of ranted and raved about it this past weekend, but Janae and I went and saw Aquaman in the theaters, and I kid you not, guys, and I said it before, but I'll say it again so everyone can listen, so I can be on the record here. I do believe it is the best superhero movie I have ever seen. I don't say that lightly.
Wait.
I'm serious.
Better than Blank Man?
Blank Man? Of course.
Oh
You stupid bastard.
Of course.
I totally forgot about that thing.
I forgot about that too. That was a really weird, nostalgic moment. No, but seriously, I don't know, man. I don't know how to describe it because most DC movies these days, and I guess maybe all of them, but they are like 2 hours and 15 minutes of bullshit backup, story building stuff that a lot of people already know and don't really care to see too much. And then like whatever, 10, 15 minutes tacked on at the end of them finally doing what they've been talking about doing the entire time. But Aquaman, it starts and it doesn't stop like the entire way through. Like it was so like adventurous and like violent. It was extremely violent for a DC movie. It was great, and it was I don't know. It had everything. And I wasn't just starstruck because of Jason Momoa either. Like it was just like I mean he definitely sells it.
Yeah.
Well, he makes everything that much more badass. But like there was really no part of that movie that I didn't enjoy. Like I had to pee the entire time and I couldn't bring myself to get up and go. Like I would have rather.
That's what the cup's for.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, right.
I know. I should have.
Once it's empty, you refill it.
Or Or just use the one next to you, whichever.
Yeah.
Have you been doing theater wrong?
I guess so. I guess so.
Just go to the theater with Bear Grylls, and then you're...
Yeah. Oh, man. Aquaman's good. Better drink my own piss.
Yes.
So, let's see here. The next thing I wanted to mention is that we are going to be part of... The Basement Dwellers podcast is going to be part of an internet radio station, which was started by Tim, the GM over at the Tomorrow's End podcast. He's calling it Wasteland Public Radio, and it will be nerd-centric. It'll be 24-hour streamed public internet radio station. And the website is up right now, but the project itself is in its infancy. But we will go ahead and update everyone when he has more to tell us on that. But yeah, that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Lastly, before we move on, next weekend on the 26th, we are going to be having another episode of the One Shot Adventurers Guild, which is kind of just where we play D&D, live stream on Twitch. You can find our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/tbdpod. We will be starting again next Saturday, the 26th at 5 o'clock p.m., and we will go until whenever, really. Our D&D games last anywhere between 5 and 500 hours. So yeah, we'll go and do that. We're going to be continuing right where we left off in the Lost Mine of Phandelver adventure that comes with the starter edition of D&D 5th edition. So please feel free to come hang out with us on Twitch. And moving on, we are going to be introducing a new segment to the show right now, which we will be calling TBD's Guide to What's Streaming Now, where we will give you a short list of the cool TV shows or movies that you may have missed, but can find on streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. So first up in the TV shows category, we have Future Man on Hulu, which is described as, you guys can correct me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Josh, is it Futterman? Futterman?
Yep.
Which one? Futterman? Josh Futterman, a janitor by day and a gamer by night, is recruited by mysterious visitors to travel through time to prevent the extinction of humanity. It stars Eliza Coupe, Josh Hutcherson, and Derek Wilson, and it's currently in its second season, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And Peterson, you're the one who listed this. Tell us about the show, man. Why should we watch it?
Actually, I think Drew did, but I think I turned him on to it. No? Oh, man. No. Really? Okay.
Really?
So you should watch it because it's, first, it's the best example of time travel I think I've ever seen. But all the throwbacks, because they go back to the past and then back to the future and all that stuff. All the jokes you can expect from time travel that are pop culture are in it. It's just... It's well written. It's written, I think, by Seth Rogen.
Yeah, it said I watched the trailer today, and I was excited. It's a comedy first and foremost, right?
It is definitely a comedy.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. But it looks like it's going to have some. It looks like it's going to have some action too.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At no point does it take itself seriously, but it's fun. I ended up not sleeping and watching 3 or 4 episodes of the second season today because it's the first chance I got. So.
Good deal, and that's on Hulu, right?
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Okay, yeah, I watched the trailer earlier today when I was prepping for the show, and yeah, I'm sold even just by the trailer. I don't know, guys, check out the trailer if you're curious about it. Check out the trailer at least. But yeah, on Hulu. All right, next up is Letterkenny Problems, which is also on Hulu. It's described as a quick-witted, fast-paced, snappy comedy about hillbilly hicks getting by in a small town, and it stars Jared Kiso and Nathan Dales. First glance to me, it sounds a bit maybe similar to Trailer Park Boys. Am I hitting on the mark there? Or?
It's not really.
No.
It's more like it's really dry humor.
Awesome.
So if you like dry humor, this is a show for you. Like Trailer Park Boys is like loud and brash and like
it is quick,
way out there, but it's like
I'd say if Trailer Park Boys met the IT crowd, maybe
there you go.
A fusion of those two shows together.
But are they like full length episodes or are they like short clips? Like
they're like half-hour episodes.
Okay, because I see everybody posting about them on Facebook, but usually just kind of clips or like one and done type stuff.
If you catch the clips and you like the clips, that's like the whole show is just like that. It's great. You'll love the show.
Well, because didn't it start out as just the YouTube clips?
No, it started out and it was straight up just available in Canada for the longest time on Crave TV. So it was
Canadian
only
show?
in Canada. Yeah, it's a Canadian show. So you gotta know a little bit about Canada, but not much.
All right.
But yeah, it started as a Canadian show. So like the only clips you could get down here in the States was just the clips off of YouTube. And then they moved the first 2 seasons onto Hulu, and then those took off like wildfire. And they just within the last couple of months added the other 4. So all 6 seasons are on Hulu right now.
And they're all wonderful.
6 seasons?
Oh yes, they are. Yep.
Holy shit.
They're not very long seasons. They're only like 7 or 8 episodes.
Yeah. They've been around for years then, because the IMDb I looked up said it was 2016, but I'm guessing that's when they...
No, it might just be 2016, because like I said, the episodes, there's only like 8 episodes per season. So it's not
rapid
like...
fired through that one then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Next up, or the last one in the TV shows category is Norseman on Netflix. It's a Norwegian comedy series in which the residents of a 8th century Viking village experience political rivalry, social change, and innovations that upend their culture and way of life. And it stars a whole bunch of Nordic names that I would not be doing any justice trying to pronounce. This was one of those hidden gems on Netflix. It's a Netflix original series, and it's like the Monty Python of... like I don't know how else to describe it. Like like it's very, very, very dry humor. Like you almost think it was a Monty Python show. It's done in that style. Lots of ridiculousness going on, hyper violence, and it is definitely one to check out if you like that type of humor. Have any of you guys watched it yet?
I've seen a couple episodes and absolutely enjoyed them.
I have not.
Yeah, same. I've seen a couple. They're good.
They're short too. I think they're only half hour long. But there's only 2 seasons on Netflix right now. But it's really good stuff. I was laughing my ass off for most of it. Like I said, really, really dry humor. But when it's done in the context of like historical Viking, I don't know, it's a good backdrop for that. But moving on to the movies category, we only got 2 for these. First up is Extinction, which is on Netflix. The description is a man's home life starts to suffer when he has recurring nightmares about a destructive and unknown force. He must soon find the strength to save his wife and 2 daughters when extraterrestrials launch a devastating attack on the planet. It stars Michael Pena, I guess if I say his name, and Lizzie Kaplan.
Yeah.
And my thoughts on this one when I first watched it, it can appear a bit disingenuous and cheesy at times, but the thought-provoking twist that it has, it makes it all worth it, and it makes you kind of view what you've already seen in a different light, and that's why I included it. It's definitely one to check out. It's another Netflix original movie, and
I can't weigh in without spoiling anything.
It's hard not to. I mean,
I really want to. I want to spoil it so bad.
And honestly, like I know, and honestly, like it. Did you like it, Nick?
Yeah.
I know, and I know. You can be honest. It's a hard one to.
I wasn't crazy about. I mean, it was okay, and I agree with you. It was very thought provoking. I just thought there was, I don't know, too much cheese. I don't know. It was okay.
Yeah, and
if I had to choose between the 2 that you're listing, I'd choose the other. But
yeah. Oh yeah. The big reason I included it is because I'm assuming a lot of people would have passed over it, because it kind of came out. I think it was 2016 or 2017. maybe. I don't remember exactly. But during that time, there was a bunch of other stuff going on kind of in the same vein of, so it would have been easy for most people to kind of dismiss it. But all you fellow nerds out there, it is a sci-fi movie. Like I said, it's partially way, I'll be honest with you, partially way they threw it, I almost turned it off just because it wasn't like keeping my interest too much. But I'm so glad I finished it.
I got up to about halfway, and there's a very specific scene that kind of makes it hard for me to continue watching. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I got to a very specific scene. And I'm like, oh man, come on.
Yeah.
And I almost turned it off too.
Yeah, it's definitely one to check out, because if you have Netflix, and you're obviously watching it, as part of your membership, so you're not really losing anything, but maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours of your time. But if you're
watch it,
watch it for the experience. It's a good one to check out. Next one on here is also a Netflix original. It's called Spectral. It is a sci-fi thriller story centered on a special ops team that is dispatched to fight supernatural beings. It stars James Badge Dale, Emily Mortimer, and Bruce Greenwood. This one I recommend hands down. It was.
Same.
Yeah, it was action-packed. It had a really creepy premise. Like, the very first scene it sucks you in the very first couple scenes as far as what's going on. You could overgeneralize it and say it's kind of a Ghostbusters type movie, but it's not anywhere near that. Not anywhere near as comedic or low tech, I guess. But
it's not as campy.
Not as campy. There we go. That's a good one.
I think it's interesting that you chose both of these, because they both do share kind of a twist at the end.
Yes.
And I really like Spectral a lot.
Oh, nice. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one to check out. Again, it's on Netflix, so if you have it, it's part of your membership. Not going to cost you anything extra. And if you like sci-fi stuff, I think, honestly, Netflix has been killing it with a lot of their original series and their original movies lately. And also, as a bit of news, I did hear that they are raising their subscription price, I think by $2 across the board. But that is to help fund a lot of their expenditures into the original series and movies department, which, if you like their stuff, it's worth supporting. With that, we will go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about some famous nerdy people.
What's up, everybody? JJ here. I'm a super nostalgic person, and one of the things that has given me so many memories over the years has been my experiences with video games. I mean, sure, I like hearing reviews, watching Let's Plays, and getting news about the latest releases, but what I really love is hearing about how gaming has affected people on a personal level. That's why I decided to start my own YouTube channel, Game Room Revival. I talk not only about games I love, but why I love them so much, and what they've meant to me over the years. I'm a retro game collector, and the games that mean the most to me are the ones that have great memories attached to them. So, if you're like me and have a passion for talking and hearing about how games have affected people personally, I invite you to come check out my YouTube channel, Game Room Revival. Thanks, and now, back to the basement.
Anyway, we are back, and we're going to talk about celebrity nerds. Are they good or bad for nerdy interests? And are they genuinely interested, or are they trying to ride some sort of nerdy hype train to nerddom? I don't know. But yeah, lately, what spawned this whole idea for the discussion was a recent article, and I won't attribute it to any one source because it got picked up by nearly everybody, including a lot of publications that I didn't think something bad happened to my connection. Anyway, Joe Manganiello, he's a star of True Blood. He's also in a couple movies that don't really fit the mold of what we talk about. He's obsessed with D&D. He has a dungeon in his basement. He plays regularly, and he has a character who is actually becoming part of D&D canon. Recently, the article I'm talking about, he ran a game at a local kids hospital in Pittsburgh in the hopes that they would kind of take that and begin running their own games. Did you guys see that article in some form or another?
Yeah.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Yep, saw it as a video.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's kind of along the lines of what we're talking about. It seems like within the past few years, there's been a resurgence of people kind of coming out, so to speak, as closet nerds and saying that they like this kind of stuff. Always been into it, and Joe Manganiello, he's kind of the only one that I feel is maybe, I don't know, maybe I don't want to say this.
Full of shit?
No, I don't think he is. That's the thing. I think he's maybe the only one that's not. Like I don't know, like hearing him talk about it, like he definitely knows his stuff. But yeah, he recently did a game at a kid's hospital. He brought the starter set edition, which is coincidentally what we're playing next weekend. And he playing with all these sick kids, trying to get them to express themselves and honestly probably just get their minds off of being sick. And it's stuff like that I think kind of maybe above the rest of the people I have on my list as far as how he's using D&D and nerdy culture and everything like that to kind of, I guess, change the world around us.
So I brought this up, I think maybe a couple weeks ago. Matthew Lillard, who is star from SLC Punk, the Scooby-Doo movies. He is actually collaborating with Wizards of the Coast, and they brought out a I want to call it a compendium, but it's called Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse, which is like a big D&D module. It's like $500, but I don't know if he like wrote it or if he just collaborated with it. Just the fact that his name is in there is really cool, and he's a big D&D nerd, which I don't know if that's like a recent thing or if he's been doing it for a long time.
I heard his name back when I was running Sleep Debt Publishing and stuff, so I think he was always kind of into it. He was just, it wasn't cool to say.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And I think what we're seeing now as just kind of a general culture commentary here, I think we're finally seeing it starting to be accepted.
Yes, but no.
Yeah, like I don't think it carries the same weight as it once did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't have as much negativity attached to it, which is nice. And all these celebrities saying they play D&D or role play or whatever, it's great for the industry, but I just wonder how many of them are riding a fad wave.
I wonder that too. And I also have to, because a lot of them, when they get attached to the companies like Wizards of the Coast, I don't know. I don't want to be the cynical old man here, but like
I'll do it.
I'll say like fad wave or not, I think it's great for our gaming community because it's got people, it's got mainstream people. You got like Vin Diesel, Joe Manganiello, those guys out there that are big budget like Hollywood movie actors that are like famous for being tough guys and going, oh yeah, I'll sit down and play pen and paper nerd games. Like it's not that weird.
Yeah.
Like it's showing that like, hey, normal jockey people play this shit too. It's not as taboo almost as it once was.
Yeah, no,
suicide.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing that I was going to bring up is that you got guys like Joe, and you had just mentioned Vin Diesel, which according to interviews I've seen with Joe, he's not even sure he believes Vin Diesel plays, and that's based on the fact that he doesn't know who he plays with. So but yeah, that's kind of anecdotal from his point of view. But you got these guys who are these gigantic muscle-bound heartthrobs to a lot of people out there who watch their stuff, especially Joe being part of True Blood, and he was in Magic Mike and stuff like that. But you got these people who go against the stereotype of nerds, and
dude, we can barely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm getting like every other word.
God damn it.
Same here.
All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys talk
I heard
then.
That you have a nerd. I heard that you have a nerd boner for Joe Magniello.
Mike.
Magniello, yeah. No, yeah. So yeah, I will go ahead and spare you guys the technical difficulties from my end here. But if you guys can hear me, what other celebrities do you think are bringing D&D and nerdy stuff into a positive light?
Well, the one I heard about years ago, over a decade ago, was Will Smith and his, I think it was Jaden, but it might have been his first son.
Really?
They got into Warhammer pretty heavy for a while.
Wow, okay.
Will Wheaton and Seth Green. I mean, everybody knows those guys, and they're super legit. I mean, they fucking run YouTube like they own the bitch, but...
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I love Seth Green.
Yeah. Will Wheaton had a tabletop, where they played board games and role played and stuff on, God, I think it was Twitch, but it might have been YouTube.
Yeah, he's part of like the whole Geek and Sundry network type deal.
One I was talking to Nick earlier about was Robin Williams. Like, I had always known that he was really big into like the Legend of Zelda. I mean, he even named his daughter Zelda, for Pete's sake. But I was reading up about him, and he was actually huge into like Warhammer, D&D, World of Warcraft. Basically, the article said that if it was a game, he played it.
I hadn't heard that. I mean, I heard the Zelda thing because I think before he passed away, he was in a couple commercials.
Yeah, he did. He had some commercials out for, I think it was the whatever the last Nintendo gaming thing was.
The
Switch,
the
Switch, or the DS or something like that.
Honestly, I heard about Robin Williams back when I heard about Will Smith. It was actually the same article, and like I said, that was at least a decade ago. So,
and Felicia Day. When you guys mentioned Will Wheaton, I think of Felicia Day too.
Well, yeah, I think it's Oswald Patton that also did some gaming with them. Yeah, that's what it was. Whichever.
Yeah. She was big from the Guild.
And My Dreams.
And she was also
Dr.
in
Horrible.
Dr. Horribles, yep. Aside from that, I've seen her on Tabletop. I know she does a lot of voice work as far as voice acting for video games and anime, I think, or cartoons or something along those lines.
I was going to say, talking about voice work and stuff, Matt Mercer does a voice for the cowboy from Overwatch. God, I can't think of his name. McCree, yeah. And he's a big game master. He actually had an article on something called Ian World that I visit once in a while, and they want to know how to game master like him, because I guess he's really good at it.
Oh yeah, no, if you watch Critical Role is the series that he's most known for as far as D&D and whatnot. It's incredible stuff. Like he has all of him and all of his voice actor friends get together and they'll play. Oh,
Isn't that the one that Tushi was always talking about?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Let's see here. Who else I got on my list? Deborah Ann Wall, who is another True Blood star, and he apparently has been a longtime D&D nerd and DM specifically, and she's currently set to run a homebrew campaign setting in her new show, which is called Relics and Rarities. I don't think it's out yet, but that'll be streaming on a channel called Alpha. I'm assuming Twitch will pick it up. Of course, it's part of Geek and Sundries lineup too. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. I also have her name is Mayim Bialik. She was originally known as the star of Blossom, and now she's known for her role as Amy in The Big Bang Theory. I remember seeing a video not too long ago of her using D&D as a way to connect with her young sons. So it's just examples like that really just kind of make me think that our culture is shifting to being maybe, we're not saying accepting, but maybe being more open to that kind of
more accommodating.
Yeah, like I said, you're not immediately going to commit social suicide. Someone said that earlier, by just being part of that kind of stuff. But the honorable mentions I have here are Stephen Colbert and Anderson Cooper, which both are. Well, I guess Stephen Colbert is the host of, what the fuck is? I can never keep the show straight. Late Show, what?
Yeah,
he's the Late Show.
Late Show, okay, yep. He's a big Tolkien fan, and outside of his primarily political talk, he does engage in quite a bit of nerdery on his set with the guests if they show any sign of being interested in the same stuff, which is where I found out that Anderson Cooper, who works for CNN, he is also used to be big into Dungeons and Dragons. So you really just never know, like, who out there in the media world who's getting all this attention is like into that kind of stuff. And for a lot of them, it makes sense. Like actors, it makes sense because role playing is essentially acting.
Yep.
It probably helps them hone their craft, and if they can add add the actual game elements to it. Does anybody else have anybody else to add to this list?
I don't know if he is, but I always thought Jack Black would be a gamer.
See, I don't know about that one. Yeah, he just
started a YouTube channel.
See, yeah,
I don't know, but it's more video games than.
Yeah, and I think his first stream was actually about him playing pinball. So.
I know Brian Posehn's big into D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who that is.
He's a comedian.
Yeah, okay. he had podcast. Was I don't remember what it was now.
I don't remember his show either, but
yeah.
If you get a chance, Brian Posehn, he has a stand-up special on Netflix called The Fartist.
oh, okay.
And it's great.
Brian Posehn's funny. I like Brian Posehn.
He's a huge nerd and metalhead.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Those two seem to go hand in hand, it seems, because that's the same thing with Joe. What's his face too?
Joe Manganiello.
Manganiello.
Yep, nailed it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can wrap up the show. I have a couple questions, and if my connection holds out and you guys can hear them, that'll be a good chance to fill some time here.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say I also have two honorable mentions of what to watch.
Go for it.
The Rookie on ABC and Hulu right now. I watched all of them. Yeah, right? I watched all of them in like a day and a half, which for me is really hard to do. And then there's Justice League Dark on, I think it's Hulu, but it could be Netflix. It's a really good animated Cthulhu mythos, I think, if I remember right.
Really?
Ooh.
Oh, I don't remember if it's Cthulhu or if it was just a really weird, strange magic one, but it's Justice League Dark. It's really good. It's Batman.
It's more of a strange magic one than Cthulhu Mythos.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I saw it when it first dropped on wherever it is. Netflix or Hulu. Watch them. Check both of them.
Yeah. All right, and I think we'll go ahead and do another quick commercial break here. And when we get back, we're going to wrap up the show. I just got a couple questions for everyone to weigh in on. So yeah, stick with us, and we'll be back in a sec.
Hey, do you want to play games for a good cause? Join Extra Life, a community of 50,000 gamers all over the world who play games to heal kids at Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Find out more at extra-life.org.
Do you like role-playing? How about podcasts? How about a podcast about role-playing? Check out our friends at Tomorrow's End, a podcast that follows a role-playing group as they navigate through a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Find them now on iTunes and Google Play.
Manganiello? Manganiello?
Manganiello?
You need
How the fuck do you say?
Manganiello?
I thought it was like Manganiello.
I think it's Manganiello.
Magna Yellow.
Manganiello.
I don't know.
Joe ripped his fuck.
Mangajello.
Mangajello.
Maybe the two L's together are like a Y in Hispanic, so it's Manganino.
Man, no, I'm pretty sure it's
Manganino. Oh, Nino from the manga.
Okay, and with that,
Mango Jello.
What mango?
Oh, I love Jello.
Okay, with that, we're back for the last portion of the show. I just have a quick wrap up questions for everybody. In case my connection cuts out, they are listed in the show prep. They can check those out or.
Yep, he's gone now.
No, not working.
Oh no! I don't know.
Okay.
You're back for a second.
All right. Well, here we go. Question number 1. What do you think about things like D&D being in the spotlight now? Damn it! All right. Well, this portion.
The funny part is on the actual recording, it's gonna go. Wes is gonna go number 1. We're all gonna start cackling, but on the recording, you're gonna hear him read the question.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and read the question right now, and just know that question 1 is being asked. So, what do you guys think about things like D&D being in the spotlight now, with all of the involvement by high exposure celebrities like Joe Manganiello?
Who wants to take that first?
You.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think it'll help the industry, like Drew was saying, but it feels cheap to some of us that have been in it for so long. And to me, it's about the everyman that plays. It's not about the high celebrities and stuff like that. As a younger kid, I would have geeked out about it, but now I just kind of feel salty.
That's a pretty good explanation. I would have to say that I'm borderline agreeing with you on that one. Who else?
I disagree. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm with Drew on this one. I like it. It's
something that for the longest time you had to fight tooth and nail to be able to get to talk about to other people, and now everyone kind of has a general idea of what D&D is, and you're not catching shit all the time for liking it because of other people that are more mainstream that like it now.
Well, and not only that, like those big celebrities who play, like Joe Mango Jello and Vin Diesel.
Oh, sure, you get his name right.
they make it feel more relatable to them now. Like these were like big tough dudes. Like now I can have something to relate to them with.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that seems reasonable, and I don't disagree. I think it's the old neckbeards, I guess, like me, that just kind of I get kicked in the gut a little bit. I'm glad for the industry, I really am. We need more younger people playing to keep it alive, but at the same time, I got wounds, and I want them to see them and feel them.
Well, I'm not touching your wounds, you salty bastard.
You can touch something else, Drew.
Salty wounds. Yeah.
Oh, I'll throw salt in your wounds. I'll throw salt in them like a mother effer.
No, I like I said, I kind of straddle that line. I'm happy for the industry from a business standpoint because, like Jeremy just said, you know, you have to have new people coming into it to keep it alive and to drive that innovation, because people are going to voice what they want from D&D, and from what I've seen is that Wizards of the Coast and whoever else has been publishing stuff, they listen to their fan bases. I mean, that's why we have editions of D&D and not just one game that has all these amendments to it. You know what I mean? It's like they're listening to people play testing and everything like that. And yeah, so in that aspect, I definitely am happy for it. I do understand Peterson's point of view. He's a tad older than the rest of us here, so perhaps things are a bit different for him. But you know, as we've stated on the show before, a lot of us did grow up kind of it being stigmatized, being nerdy, and being into D&D. And I do think that some of that is being lifted, but maybe not entirely, because it's kind of accepted as like, oh, you're into that, you're nerdy, okay, you know, they're either interested or not, and they move on. But I can definitely see what you're talking about when it comes to not wanting that part overshadowed by the fact that celebrities are playing and they're getting all this attention and they're kind of changing the light of things. I definitely get that.
Well, to be fair, my stance is it's a positive thing. To be fair, yeah.
To be fair.
Anything that helps the industry helps the players. So there's that.
Yeah, I agree.
Side note,
go
that
ahead.
was a Letterkenny reference.
Oh. Okay. Second question. Do you think celebrities... What? That was... Actually, it is kind of. Yeah, so we'll skip that one. So here's what we'll end the show on. What do you guys think the future holds for role-playing games, board games, and other nerdy interests in the future?
I can answer that with one word.
That.
Future, man.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
Sky's the limit, bud. I mean, look at all the new board games that are coming out on a daily basis and all the popularity of all these games. I mean, I can see this stuff.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I can see it a big resurgence in the board gaming industry because of all the new innovations.
And that's the only thing that scares me, is because so much is getting put out at once. It's kind of like comic books in the 90s. Because there was so much put out, and then all of a sudden it just died.
Well, you hit a brick wall, and then
it went strong for like 10 years, 15 years, and then it was just like shit out.
I agree with Drew on this one.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna hit like 3 to 7 years of solid gaming. You know, where you have board gaming, tabletop gaming, role playing, and even video games will fall into the category where you'll get like a few years of really good output, and then we're going to hit just a brick wall of nothing for a while because all these ideas are just drying up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Then we can actually get caught up on playing the games.
So it's not even it's going to dry up. It's just going to be. It's going to turn into everything is the same. So much the same is going to get put out that it's going to flood the market with one type of game that's the same as this game, which is the same as this game, it's the same as this game. It's just got a different skin on it.
Yeah. How many times can you make a Viking or a Cthulhu game?
Yeah.
I was going to say, how many times can you make a Munchkin game, but there's like a million of them, so...
I was going to say, there's an industry standard actually already for this in the role-playing community called D20. When the open game license hit, there was a huge boon of new games. And then you got new games, but they were just filed off serial numbers. And then they got worse, and then they got worse. And then it kind of collapsed on itself, and only really Pathfinder stays ahead.
The big thing that I've noticed, because I was plugged into that community for a good while when I was younger, then I unplugged for a good while and didn't do anything like that, and then now I'm back into it full swing and more than I ever have been in my entire life. But I think video games have already hit that wall, and that is actually based on a lot of things from the actual the quarterly reports that I see from the AAA companies like EA and Activision and all those.
EA and Activision.
Yeah, well, exactly. See, that's the general consensus of most people. You know, that's why they're coming out with all these stupid things for mobile games. Like you had the announcement at BlizzCon this year of
Diablo. Get me started with. Yeah. I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah, Diablo.
I knew you were going to say it.
Diablo.
I was going to throw my phone across the room.
They have, how stupid. I mean,
what an insult to gamers.
It is, and another example of that is you got, Alien Isolation. It didn't sell as well as what they wanted, but it is still an example of an incredibly good Alien franchise game. One that a lot of people, a lot of consumers, the people, that these companies rely on to actually buy their product, they want more of. So what they do? Oh, they made the sequel to Alien Isolation a mobile only game. Alien Blackout or whatever the fuck it's called. What's up?
But are you looking at it from the same point of view that I am with celebrities in D&D, where because I mean, I got teenagers in the house. They don't play video games as much as they play mobile games.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. No. I got you.
Is that the way the industry is going, and we just have to deal with it, or?
Well,
are we running their wrong?
Market trend.
Well, the thing is that they, to a certain extent, I would say yeah, you're right, but not stuff from AAA titles. And the fact is what they're doing is they are outsourcing these projects to these companies who make shitty mobile games. Like I can't give you any examples right now, but the people who who were licensed out to make the new Alien Isolation game, it like, I watched a YouTube video of the guy being like, these are some of the other titles it made, and it's like generic bullshit, like Candy Crush ripoffs using Marvel characters instead. Like, like it's just
right, yeah,
stupid cash grab stuff. And I think what we're seeing, from a business standpoint, is we are seeing a lot of people resist that by going and like basically going from being plugged in to unplugged. Like, that's why we have the resurgence of D&D. That's why we have the resurgence of board games. People want to get together with their friends. They don't want the isolation of being by themselves in a room playing video games. And again, that's maybe a generational thing. I don't know exactly, as far as like, most of us here are within that millennial range, even though they keep changing it up and down a couple of years, and that's really kind of what places us in it or out of it, depending on what bullshit article they come up with next. But like, most of us are skirting the line of millennial, but the generation after us, whatever the fuck they're called, I don't know too much about them, because right now the market trends lean more towards the millennial generation as far as pandering to them, and the millennial generation are what marketers want to target, because we are a huge driving force in a lot of different industries. I mean, you guys see those different articles that have come out. Oh, millennials are destroying this industry. You know what I mean? So, like, it's that's what we're seeing. And I think, but to bring it back to video games, we're going to hit a crash or a wall, the brick wall that you guys said, because people are. The spread of information has given consumers this great tool to be able to communicate with the people who are making products for them. And we've seen it with recently with the Destiny 2, pretty much everything that EA has put out, as far as like the Star Wars games and Battlefield and everything like that. And we're going to see it. Like the only companies that I feel have a chance are like the independent, like the indie games. People are eating indie games up because they're different. They're not just reskinned bullshit year to year like Battlefield and Call of Duty have been, the past 5-6 years or however long it's been. And
that's fair. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just wonder if EA is kind of going the same way that Wizards of the Coast did, where they had a huge market with D20. Then they came out with 4th, and it went down, and then they came back hard with 5th. And EA is big enough to do something like that if we're comparing industries from role-playing to video games.
Yeah, the problem is that they have their attention focused in the wrong direction. I mean, they have the capabilities, and the fact that they're not using them is what is telling as far as the direction of the company goes.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you. I just wonder if it's like Wizards, where they focused on 4th.
Yeah.
And then did a market change. They looked at the market and went, oh, this isn't working the way we thought it was going to, and then they switched again.
See, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
See, along those same lines, and I will leave the political bullshit out of this, but Battlefield 5 is a great example of a company literally telling their consumer base, if you don't like what we've done, don't buy it. That's exactly what they said. And like I said, I'll leave all the political bullshit out of it as far as what caused it. But you know what I mean? We have companies saying, if you don't like what we do, don't buy it. And then people don't buy it. and then they're sticking to their guns, though. That's the problem. They're not looking at it. You know what I mean? They're alienating half their, over half their fan base.
I would say yay, boo for that. Yay for sticking to your guns. Boo for making a bad market call.
Yeah. I mean, you hear like Wizards of the Coast who hear their fans' cries, and they'll change their their way of thinking.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's a much smaller.
Whereas a company like EA is just all about putting money in their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Any way they can.
The role-playing world is a...
Go ahead, man.
Okay. So the role-playing world is a much smaller sample size than video games. So, I mean, that's where I come from. I don't come from the video game background like you guys do, so...
Yeah. Well, then, going on to the role-playing stuff, like, it's definitely... I do think they're more in tune with what people want, because it is a huge hobby, and it is filled with people who scrutinize every single little detail of what is put out. So when they sit there and they put together a focus group of players who are play testing a new system, they know damn well that they should listen to them, and that's kind of the and again, I was kind of unplugged from the role-playing as far as knowing what was going on with the companies and everything for the longest time, so I'm just getting back into it. But the D&D's departure from the basic type of stuff, like I would say 3 is when they started to turn it around, because 2 for some reason was way too much for people as far as like math, and you got THACO. So going into 3 and 3.5, I think is when they really hit their stride, and then 3.5, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what Pathfinder is based on, isn't it? Pathfinder was like basically the big fuck you to Wizards of the Coast for deviating from that line.
Sort of. Pathfinder's 3.75, except now they're coming out with a second edition Pathfinder.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean that was where I was at my height, was during the D20 craze. So
yeah.
And then when that bubble kind of burst, I moved away from D&D completely and from D20. So
yeah. Well, then they came out with 4th edition, which definitely I think they tried to draw. In obvious ways, they tried to draw people away from video gaming and maybe board gaming strictly, because I think the board game, as far as like the hobby board game, that stuff started to ramp up around that time, maybe around 4th edition or so. Again, I wasn't paying attention too much, but lost my train of thought here. Apparently, I'm breaking up.
It's okay,
again,
you're breaking up again.
Yep.
Okay. Well, in that case, is there any other thoughts you guys have to add? We kind of went on a big rant that time.
I'm going to assume you're asking if there's anything else to talk about.
You're assumed correctly.
I'm good if everyone else is.
No.
I'm good.
Good. Okay, then. I guess this part's just for me, but I will go ahead and say thanks, everyone, for sticking it out. And we will be back next time, so have a good night.
Bye.
Oh my god, fix your connection!
I wish you weren't so fucking awkward, bud.
Yeah, bud.
Texas size 10-4.
Bird of beef.
God damn, this is frustrating.
Bird of beef.
Well, hear me yet?
Yeah. Kinda.
Kinda.
Jesus Christ.